name's Jo, Joshi from DMCFINDER. We have the lovely Fred online today, who will be giving us an update on Maahs consulting and how it can help the accessibility sector. Hi Fred, how are you?
Doing great, Joe. How are you doing?
Yeah, great. How are things in the States for you today?
Things are great. We've got some weather things going on across the country, and of course, dealing with COVID here and there. But otherwise, we're doing pretty well, thanks.
Good, that's good to hear. It's exciting. It's exciting to hear the boards have now opened for the UK, so we can come to the US, which is really exciting in the UK at the moment. It's big news.
It is big news, and we're excited to welcome back all of our good friends from the UK, and really looking forward to it.
No, fantastic. We look forward to it too. We've got a couple of questions for you today, Fred.
Sure.
We'll go through them and then you can kind of let us know what you're doing with your service and kind of how you can help out
Sure.
kind of the sector out there. Brilliant. Okay, Fred, so how can Maahs Travels Consulting help hotels become accessible and adapted for people with disabilities?
Well, so a little bit of background. So I had a diving accident when I was 18 and became paralyzed from the chest down. I broke my neck and have spent literally, ever since then, decades traveling the world. I spent over 30 years as a corporate executive, building my reputation and expertise as an international disability advocate and disability and travel and tourism expert. And then a couple of years ago, I decided, you know what, I've got to do this full time. It's my passion, and devoted really, all of my time full time to helping people with disabilities. So I created my consulting business, and our team consists of people with disabilities and the expertise based upon the Americans with Disabilities Act. We can help hotels, businesses, and just about any piece of the travel industry, travel destination, not only become accessible through assessments and audits that we will perform and give you a full report on it, but we can also provide training to employees and staff of those establishments to help them better understand different types of disabilities, as well as working with people with disabilities and bringing them on as employees or serving them as clients.
Yeah, no, fantastic. It sounds like a brilliant service. And do you find it's quite popular in the US, the service you're offering, or is it global?
Well, it's interesting. Here in the US, businesses and other establishments are essentially governed by the Americans with Disabilities Act that was passed 31 years ago.
Okay.
That removed the physical barriers for people with disabilities. So, there must be access for people with disabilities, and things need to be adapted for their needs. But it's interesting, once you get outside of the US, the term accessibility can mean lots of different things, if anything at all.
Yeah.
So
Okay, Fred, for the second question, how can Maahs Travels help book individuals or groups with disabilities for events and tours?
So here's I think just a wonderful piece of the business that I'm involved in. So I have a partner, a business partner who we joined forces a couple of years ago. Her name is Tarita Davenok. She's based in Canada, and she started a company about 15 years ago called Travel for All. And we partnered 2 years ago to really, what we do is we provide travel for anyone around the world, but we have a niche, a special niche for people with disabilities and special requirements. So through our network that we've built over the years, we work with about 1,000 or so vendors, suppliers, etc. So if, for instance, we have a client who wants to travel to Peru or the UK, and they just happen to need a wheelchair, they need accessible transportation, maybe they need oxygen or a caregiver. We'll work with our network, not only to help build their itinerary and book their travel, but we will also make sure that all of their special requirements are taken care of during their trip.
Okay.
So what we can do is provide, when we're working with hotels, or we're working with event planners and others, chances are they have someone in that group that has some type of disability or special need.
Okay.
So we can help them plan so everybody can be included, not just part of the family or part of the team or part of the group. We can help make sure that everyone is included and that all of their needs are met.
Okay, perfect. That sounds really like an amazing service Tarina's offering.
And Joe, I want to add also, if there are questions that an event planner or others may have about accessibility for a destination, of course, they can contact us as consultants, and we can go and really assess, audit that particular location to make sure that everything is accessible and adapted for those persons' needs. So that event will be, seamless and enjoyed by everyone.
Fantastic. So are you able to go out to site and kind of do kind of a site visit for that destination, for that venue, just to make sure before they get there that it's fully accessible?
That is correct. We offer our services globally, and we have a team that literally travels worldwide to provide these services.
Fantastic. No, it's brilliant. It's really good to know. I think a lot of clients are unaware that these services are available actually in the marketplace. I've been working in B2B for a long time. I think they wouldn't even consider it really. I think so. It's great that we're able to kind of make event planners aware that you offer a brilliant service like this, which can make their job a lot easier.
Well, absolutely. And it's what a shame that they're not aware of the services, because my guess is over time, lots of people, relatives, family members, friends, have probably been left out in one way or another of these events because they just didn't know what was available to them. So we can help resolve those issues.
No, that's fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, so going from there, Fred, so why do you think accessibility is important?
Sure. Well, so let's look at a couple of statistics. We're the largest demographic in the world. People with disabilities are the largest demographic in the world. There are, as far as we know, and the number's probably higher, about 1.4 billion with a B people living in the world that have some type of disability. And we're living longer, so that number is going to grow exponentially.
Yeah.
So the other interesting statistic is that there's this misnomer, this misperception that people with disabilities are poor, when in fact, people with disabilities have over they're saying somewhere between $3 and $8 trillion with a T, trillion US, in disposable income just for travel and entertainment alone.
That's so crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy.
It's
and the crazy part is, they're only spending about 43% of those dollars because they either don't know what places are accessible because the places aren't marketing them. They kind of bury it, in their details, or the places themselves are not accessible. So my passion, my work is we want to change all of that. We want to help places become accessible because at some point, for places who are not accessible, you're going to rely on, typically, historically, and statistically, people under 55 pretty much forever, because statistically, people over 55 have experience or somehow acquire some type of disability, and that limits their ability to travel. And again, you're going to exclude all of those people, by the way, who are living longer, who are usually loyal and repeat customers, if you don't become accessible.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting actually, because the airlines, the venues, destinations are missing out on those trillions of pounds, which could really boost their kind of tourist kind of activity and revenue over each season. Because I think that's because they're not aware as well themselves, because they can, or whatever happens in their destination, it's not forefront. It's about getting the tourists
No.
in. But if we educate them correctly, again, I think they'd bite your hand off to work with you.
So, and here's the way to think of it, and I'm a prime example of it. I mean, at any given moment, it can happen to you,
Bless you,
right?
yeah.
And people you don't necessarily always think about that until it happens to you.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that as we get more, towards an inclusive, universal design mindset, it won't be an afterthought. Everything will be accessible and adapted for everyone,
Yeah.
so that everyone can enjoy it. And that's utopia. That's how it should be anyway.
No, I agree, absolutely, definitely. No, I think you're offering a great service. I think it's a real kind of thought that I think the destination needs to start thinking about the DMOs on the ground, and kind of understand what they can do to kind of make it more open and available for every demographic going forward.
Exactly.
No, okay.
Yeah. And we're here to help.
No, I think you'll do a brilliant job with helping them. So on that case, actually, so what is the business case for making this accessible for all people?
Well, I think I just stated the business case.
Yeah.
Listen, it's the right thing to do for so many reasons.
Yeah.
People with disabilities are probably the most loyal and most repeat customers you'll ever have.
Yeah.
And when we return from a trip, we're telling family and friends, and then they become customers, and so on. So there are all the reasons to do it for the right reasons. But again, you're talking over $500 billion, much more than that, literally trillions of dollars that are being left on the table, that are not being spent because of the lack of access.
Yeah.
So let's change that.
Absolutely.
Imagine if we were able to change, at least in the near future, 10% of that, 20% of that, and what revenue stream, what the return on investment would be for anyone who makes those simple and accommodations for people with disabilities. We got to do it, Joe.
No, I think we will. We definitely. I was going to just ask you, Fred. So, who's kind of your target audience that you're aiming at to kind of really kind of change their mindset, so they can kind of filter it down? So, who are you focusing on?
So, we'll focus on hoteliers, travel providers, and frankly, we work with a lot of governments, ministries of tourism, to help work with their city planners and others to show that if we can get on the front end of the planning and development of a location, it's going to be, essentially nothing in cost versus trying to retrofit something.
Well, yeah, that's so true. Absolutely.
So let's get on the front end.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of things that we have to fix that have already been built.
Right. Okay.
And that's what we have to do.
For the moment. So what are your key destinations that are really accessible at the moment that clients can use now, in the interim, while we're kind of getting around the rest of the world?
Sure. So of course the US is probably one of the most accessible, but places like Singapore, the UK, Israel is very accessible, especially in some of their, UNESCO and the old city. I was there and found it extremely accessible.
Oh,
now,
that's fantastic. That's amazing.
Is every place 100% perfect? No. I don't think anyone can promise you that, but we're getting there. The UK, as I mentioned, accessible. Dubai, becoming more and more accessible. Germany. There are lots of places that are, good and getting better. There are places in Spain, France, and more, but we'll get there. Now, on the other side of that, I've been trying to work with the Maldives for almost a year now, trying to convince them that they need to become accessible.
Actually,
They have zero accessibility, zero. And they're missing out on a huge market, especially since they're in the beginning stages. They want to develop another 200 islands. Let us help them just educate everyone who's planning on building there of how to make it better. And I think they'll realize huge tourism dollars.
So what are they saying now going forward? Are they on board? Are they kind of working
They
with
say
you?
they're interested,
Yeah.
um, but I will say very just slow to respond.
Right. Okay.
So I think and working with the Ministry of Tourism and his team, I think now we have to really, frankly, try to work with the hoteliers there to show them, listen, you've got major brands there,
And they're
major
like big
hotel
brands, aren't
chains
they? Yeah.
that have accessible locations in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
Why not the Maldives? Let's change that, and let's use this destination as a model
Yeah.
for other island destinations, and it can be done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's also kind of changing mindset from just kind of being a honeymoon island and to being
Right.
like a family kind of location resorts, aren't they really? Because it's perfect
Exactly.
getaway islands. Because like I've thought about it a couple of times going to Maldives with my family, and I'm like, actually, is it a honeymoon destination? Would I go? Would I not go? What does it offer? But I think
Right.
if they marketed it correctly and kind of said actually it's open to all, they'd have an
Yes.
influx of people using that island because it's amazing what they offer, really.
Yes. So we'll get there. We'll just we'll be patient.
Yeah, it's work in
We'll
progress.
try to work with them. Yes.
Bless you. Okay, I know you've got some magazines that you kind of work on. Do you want to tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about your magazines, Accessibility for All and Accessible Journeys,
Yes.
and how we can get them?
Sure. So working with a wonderful lady. Her name is Debbie Austin, who owns Melange. And so we've partnered, and over the past year, we started a magazine called Accessibility for All.
Hmm.
It's a quarterly digital magazine. So we write stories, we interview people about places, people,
Yeah,
things, products that somehow impact people with disabilities all over the world. And it's all of the very positive stories that can help people, and it's become a resource. In less than
fantastic.
a year, the magazine's read in over 64 countries.
Wow,
That
it's
number's
amazing.
growing.
Yeah,
And
brilliant.
as editor, I get to speak with and interview lots of just wonderful people
Wow.
from all over. And we're starting a new magazine literally in a couple of weeks.
Oh, wow,
Uh,
really? What's that?
it's called Accessible Journeys,
Uh-huh.
and this will be dedicated solely and become a resource for people with disabilities and their families
Yeah.
to literally use this to learn about what places are accessible, how they can explore this wonderful world of ours through firsthand experiences.
Right, okay.
And
That's
um,
brilliant, actually. If you
it
need any help
is.
from any of our DMCs, do give us a shout because I'm sure they'll be happy to help you.
Yes, that would be wonderful. Because I will tell you, many times I get invited on fam tours and
Yeah,
other things to come to places and experience the people, the culture, the history, all
yeah.
of it. And what I'll do in return is kind of as a thank you, I will write a story about my journey
Okay,
and
nice.
feature it in the magazine.
Perfect.
And we'll also promote it on social media and promote it, by the way, through our travel organization, Travel for All.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah,
So it's
a lot
kind
of
of a free
exposure.
for.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. No, I think it's a great resource actually. I think we need
Thank
more
you.
of it and kind of more awareness of it. So the more you can share with us as well, we'll share for you too for at the end of the day. No,
Thank
it's
you.
amazing. And lastly, I think you just touched on it actually. Do you ever participate in FAM tours? If so, how can that help our partners gain more business?
Sure. So I think you're right. I think I might have just answered that. I do participate in FAM tours and other tours to come visit a travel destination, experience either a hotel or a few hotels, staying there with restaurants and tour activities and transportation, etc.
Yeah.
And then talking about that, through stories and features in our magazine to help promote, and also again promoting that travel destination through our travel agency,
Yeah.
Travel for All. Um, and the other thing that I do, and maybe I didn't mention this at all yet, is that as an international disability advocate,
Yeah.
I'm invited quite frequently all over the world to talk about my journey as a person with a disability,
Okay.
becoming a successful corporate executive, but really championing people with disabilities around the world. And many times what I will do is I will highlight places that I've been that have been very accessible, or even needing advice, in my
Okay.
talking points.
Yeah.
So it's an honor for me to be able to do that. I think at the end of the day, what's important to me is that we all have opportunity.
Yeah.
We're all people first. All of
Absolutely.
the other labels come
Yeah.
second.
Exactly.
Um, and and if we can just help one another and treat one another, kindly, uh,
Absolutely.
I think the world's going to be in a much better place.
No, totally agree. Absolutely. No, thank you, Fred, for that. Much appreciated. I think that
Thank you, Joe.
our audience will find that really useful. Actually, I think it's like you said, it's a market which is kind of sometimes gets missed. So I think hopefully we can raise some awareness for you, and hopefully we can work together and get some DMCs and kind of destinations on board, and try and kind of get the ball moving really in the right direction, which you're already doing a great job of doing already. So it's fantastic.
Thank
Um,
you, Joe. And you're
but
doing great work too. Would love to continue to work together.
absolutely, no,
And
thank you.
so, can I share a little secret with our audience?
Absolutely, go for it. What is
So,
it?
so if our reading audience looks at our October issue of Melange, Accessibility for All, you're going to see a special story about Joe
Yay!
in that issue, and that you can go there through my website, www.Maahs Travels, Maahs Travels.com, or you can go directly to the magazine website at www.read, R-E-A-D, Melange, melange.com/accessibility, and you'll see
Brilliant.
Joe.
Oh no, thank you for having me on your magazine. That's really appreciated and really kind. But no,
We're
thank
honored to
you.
do it.
Thank you. But Fred, thank you for your time today. We'll look forward to working with you, and we'll catch up, definitely maybe do another one in a couple of months' time to kind of update kind of post-COVID what's happening in the world.
That'd be wonderful.
That'd be brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you very much again. I look forward to seeing you.
Thank you, Joe. Stay safe and stay well, everyone.